Hello and welcome to this second video about Hobgoblin, which is a rank and flame game by Mike Hutchinson. This is a great game for using any miniatures you have lying around already, or that special miniature you always wanted to buy but never had a use for, because Hobgoblin use that up the figures you have going through the system and can therefore create any unit you like for your grand army. I did a video on what is this game about. It should pop up right here if I'm getting the hang of YouTube. And this is the second installment in a series of at least, hopefully, 4 videos. They've all been filmed, but I need to edit them, and that takes a long time. I have a painting video on how I paint up these figures that I'm going to stat up in this video, and there'll be a battle report where they get on the battlefield and fight for the first time. It's all been filmed, it takes a long time to edit, so please, if you can cheer me on. I want to do the painting video first, after this, and then hopefully get to the battle report. Leave an encouraging comment, give me a thumbs up, it'd be much appreciated to keep fighting on getting that battle report to you. This video here is a bit of a slow TV. It's my musings, thoughts on how I want to stat up these amazing figures that I have lying around. And then the second part will be me going through what's the army actually like. I'll put a timestamp in the timeline so you can just skip to that part if you're more interested in seeing how the War Machine Circle of Warriors became the Warriors of Gaia. Alright, so I really want to make something out of my Orders, Circle of Orders here. Old Hordes figures. I really like these, but I really like these. These are amazing werewolf. These are called wolves, but they have this werewolf, especially Vampire the Masquerade, like werewolf look. Really like the face on this one. He is missing a hand. I might be able to find a bit somewhere. I got some two-headed wolves and a wolf character. I have these casters, wizards, and I think I'm gonna use this one. This one reminds me of Artemis, the goddess that lived with the animals. And yeah, not too many humans in the army. I really like this one. This is like a anthropomorphic boar. I think it fits in with the other anthropomorphic, so like a wereboar or something like that. I might do an anthropomorphic army at some point. So we're gonna have some monsters here. I don't know really about these guys. And then we have these amazing dudes. And they're definitely gonna be monstrous infantry. Let's see, I was looking around and found these, but I'm not sure. I want to do a demon army at some point too, and these might actually be more demon-like. These are very demon. These could be some kind of light infantry in a werewolf army. I might use them for both, but these definitely two. Ooh. That's not a lot of figures, but I think I have something over here. These guys. I don't know if I can use this. This will fit with these wolves. Could go for this Drake. Could go for some kind of wolf. I don't think so. And I have these old Games Workshop like 90s wolves. I don't actually like them, so I think I might. Don't want to buy too much for this, but I think I might need to start up the 3D printer and do some wolves, because I think if you just look at this I have this troll too. I don't rightly know if it fits in. Not entirely sure. I'll try to take them, the main ones here, the bases. I want to stat them up, and then I want to see what point cost that I'm adding at. This could be like an ultra elite army with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units or something, maybe up at 3,000 and 4,000 points. But let's get over to the army builder and see what stats we can give these guys. Alright, let's take these amazing figures and start getting them statted up. Creating an army here in the army builder on indietabletop.club. And let's see what we're going to call them. So when I'm looking at these figures, I'm really thinking werewolves from Werewolf the Apocalypse, the RPG by White Wolf. So I think I know what we're going to name these. Warriors of Gaia. Let's start with the big warp wolves. Let's make the two of them the same just to make it easier to play. And I think we're just going to name them Krynos after the battle form of werewolf. So I'm going to do a lot of werewolf references because that's really what my mindset is on. We're definitely going to choose monster. All right. And let's purchase. They aren't going to backing up or reforming. They're going to use the very old Swedish doctrine. Gå på. What do we want them? I'll wait. I won't put up my general and battle standard right now, but let's see. I'll just scroll through these. I really like the idea of these guys being bloodthirsty. It's kind of like the regeneration for werewolves. Like, it's very tempting to just... I really want these to be the centerpieces, so I'll expect that these, the big werewolves, they'll end up in the 1200 point range or something. But it's easy to want all the toys in the shop, so let's add on a few keywords now, and then maybe go back and buff them up once the army is completed. I like tough, but I'll put a limit on myself not to. Swift. What is the movement of a... It's already speed 10. It's fine. Brutal, reroll misses. It's always wonderful. I think I'll take the bloodthirsty because I normally don't use that. Devastating charge. Not flying. Hero is always interesting. Horde, they're certainly not. Nimble doesn't make any sense to give them since they're wild. Because they're not allowed to do anything that gives them distracted. Unless there's a character within line of sight. Or within 4 inches. It could be super fun if they're towering. They don't... Like, it could be fun to deep deploy them, but they're not sneaky. Sometimes I go for the rules, and sometimes I go for the word. I don't think they're sneaky. Would it be fun to play them with these rules? Yes. Do I find them sneaky? No. Here, bloodthirsty. I more look at the kind of regeneration, but I mean, it's maybe not out of your way to think that a 3-meter hulking werewolf would just devour anything they get close to. Is there something called devouring here? No. This means we accept them to take some damage and go in and break some opponents. I know I want to buff them up more at some point, but right now we need 2 of these. That leaves the army at already 1400 points for 2 units. We don't have a general. We don't have a battle standard yet. Let's add these guys, the Woven Infantry. And I think I'm going to field them as 1 large unit. They could maybe be just 2 on a base. But I got 5 of them, then 2 on a base, or 3 on a base. I want to field them as like a huge elite block. They are definitely monstrous infantry. And what are we going to call them? I think we're going to call them Glaive Fang Marauders. Alright, so our monstrous infantry, the Glaive Fang Marauders. I wanted to make a big, chunky... unit in the middle. And being in the middle, I think we're going to put them the battle standard. Possibly the general, I don't know, that gives them a hero 2 and a command 1. I think being in the middle, they should have fearless, so they don't catch up panic from both flanks. Let's make them brutal, so they really hit hard. Rerolls, misses once,
is amazing. The Rombo combo is definitely brutal critical hits because it gives you 2 chances to fish for that 6. It's going to give you an extra hit. I'm not much of a math hammer guy, but in a game where you normally roll 10 dice on the attack and things have 10 life points, getting to double up with a double chance to roll, it doesn't require a calculator to find out that that's pretty good. And of course, there's a reason why it's also pretty expensive. Okay, so our Glayfang Marauders are at 700 points for 1 unit. It's Monsters Infantry. They got the Battle Standard, they're Brutal, they got Command 1, Fearless, and Hero 1, and Wild, where Wild is reserved. Fearless, not Hero, and Command being the Battle Standard for this army. Alright, that was 2100 points for just 3 units in this army, which I think I don't have any wolves, but I found some cheap wolf 3D printing files. I'm going to print myself some wolves. Hopefully I can print enough wolves for today to finish the army in 1 day. But let's add some beasts. Out of 200 points, they are going to be chaff. They're going to be the tar to my fields. And so we're going to dip over into weaknesses here and saying they're not about killing stuff. So let's make them cursed. Now they really can't kill anything. And then at the same time, let's make them hollow because we're really counting these poor fellows to be murdered. Let's actually pick up the Mercury or the Fortune cards for them dying. Now I want them to stick to the field, so I'm not going to give them self-destructive. That one's actually rather, I feel like that's going to be a 50 when they can actually kill themselves. I think it's when you're re-rolling hits, okay, you're not killing anything, but you're staying on the board. Being self-destructive, maybe you can remove yourself from the board. Anyways, there's probably a reason to this. The game definitely has been playtested, and it's very solid. So let's trust Mike on that one. And we don't want them to be slow. Might as well take weak, because since we already have been starting to re-roll all hits, we're really damaging our hit chances. Might take weak at the same time. Done. That gives us 125 unit that can't really deal any damage, but they can get stuck in. They will stay because they don't deteriorate themselves. Of course, they can be shot off the board because they're skirmishers, but yeah, they will stay for a while. They'll do very little damage, and when they die, they will add Mercury tokens and Fortune card. I find those interesting. They're cheap units. I'll 3D print and paint up some wolves. Let's have 2 of those, because then going from an army at 2100 points with 3 units, we are now only at 2350 points with now 5 units. So about a 40% increase of units for a slight increase in points value. And I think it's going to alleviate definitely one of the bigger drawbacks with this army. Now, I will add only a few more units because I like to try and see what is it to have a few elite units. And maybe I'm making the army too bland by adding these beasts and not committing to the bit of having these monstrous elite army. But we'll also make a battle report so you guys can see on the table how this goes. We still have the amazing ogres to add, and we will need a general. Maybe let's make a wizard. We're gonna call her Artemis, and she has a bow, but I'd rather have her be light infantry. So let's add 1 light infantry, purchase some keywords. We definitely need to part wizard because that's what she is. We'll give her swift. Let's give her ranged. Simply because it's on the model. Is this a wise choice? Probably not, but you gotta stay true to the model here. And I have another wizardy type that does not have a bow, but he's just not as awesome in figure. So here we put in 75 points for good law. Always worth it. Are we going to make her the general? That's a lot of eggs in one basket. She is light infantry, so she might be able to do things on her own. She's a hero. She's 300 points at this point. Yeah, but if we make her the general, we should give her something else. We could make her lead. And, like, I love brutal. I hate having a bad roll, so I actually love re-rolling a lot. And I don't know, and this is where I'm not enough math hammer, and you can probably easily calculate whether elite or brutal is the better keyword, and it probably differs from, if you're a monster hitting on 2 up, elite is close to, or it's definitely useless, and brutal has very limited application, and those so it changes from unit to unit. I think being light infantry is such a very, in all the good ways of the word, you could call them basic, but you could definitely also call them all round. In most games, I would probably choose similar keywords, so I had to have less to keep track of when I'm playing, but I really think that Hobgoblin is, I can remember most of them, and I played a few games, and it's starting to stick, so I actually like to have them have different feels. I mean, she being light infantry and some of the other being monsters and monsters infantry, definitely give one feel. Okay, we're going all out. We're going to give her brutal and critical hits. She will be... she's also a wizard. It's just not a good idea to get her stuck in too hard. I'm going to take these off. I like Swift for rapid redeployment. I could also... I feel like giving her fly. Not Swift, but flying. So we can rapidly redeploy her. Okay, I think we're gonna take off. We're gonna take off Swift, and then we're gonna give her. Well, she is a wizard, so this plan of throwing her directly into getting stuck in is probably not a good idea. So I'm gonna remove those again. She's a wizard. She's not our general. Let's make an awesome general afterwards. That'll be fun. Maybe rounding this off. But I gave her Swift to easily redeploy her, but I think I'm going to go further and give her flying. She's a wizard. She can probably fly, or she can sneak, or she can use the void or something. And while she has this, you can use the fly maneuver, means she can still run her 8, but we can also redeploy her 16 inches where she's needed for buffs and such. I feel like she's the general of the army. It's like her band, but too many eggs in one basket is not how I roll. So I don't dare make her also the general. All right, now the hard part, the Abyssal Allegiance. So there are so many goods here. They're all super interesting. Like a Tara would be like shaping the battlefield, could be these sneaking wolves. Silosi be perfect buffs, I think, with great synergies for this army, but since I'm playing Silosi in my Steam Robot army, I don't want Silosi this time. I think this Gomp, I don't know if I need to draw line of sight. I don't think I need Berserk and Swift 4. I mean, this one is just a beautiful... The Isserant Dock, all enemies within gain 8 get self-destructive. It's just, I imagine that feel amazing to pull off. So I don't think I need Gomp. Scholar, it's the Death God. I don't know, maybe the spells are good, but it doesn't vibe with my, like, life, spirits, and nature theme. So I don't want to compromise that much on lower. And then we have Ludlos, which might very much fit my theme. We have Book of Tusti. You need to know all the spells and know them for the right moment. I think that's more fun when you're a more experienced player. That could be fun. It could be fun to make my wizard into a monster. Then she could be really badass. But since I'm trying to backline her, and then all enemies get ruling in the Orb of Silence. It's just... Yeah, I think Ludlos is definitely on the table here. Like for some devastating charge on the Krinos and some fast redeployment, Merapis would be fun. Mycena. See, I'm definitely going to go with Mycena when I make my swamp army. But I think with this elite unit and then being recovery and then being of nature, I think Mycena really does it for this. With this character and the flavor of this army. We're about 3,000 points. I think I'll try to cut it off at 4,000 because that's what we normally play, me and my gaming buddy. So what do we need to add? We need to have some ogres on big animals, and we need to figure out who is going to be the general. I think I've decided though, I think the Glyphfang Marauders is going to be the general, and then I think I'll make the Glyphfang Marauders into general, and then I'll make the ogres into the standard bearer. But let's add unit. They're going to be heavy cavalry. Except for the wolfies, I haven't really bought any weaknesses to bring down points. But let's see here. Purchase. They come with a devastating charge, which is a limited elite. Can be combined with elite. I don't think these guys look elite. I think they do look brutal though. Devastating charge and brutal at the same time. I mean, devastating charge and elite together, that could bring most rolls down to 2+ for a lot of reasons. That could be really a shock troop. They could also be terrifying. Let's call the big boys Gortorks Chargers, and let's make them heavy cavalry. And then for some words, I think we'll just remove battle standard from these guys, make them general instead, and the Gortorks Chargers, they will become the battle standard. They have devastating charge. Should we give them? Let's give them brutal. They look brutal. That brings them in at 650 points. I don't really want to make them any more. I don't want to sink more points into that single unit than that. That leaves us at 325 points. And I think we're going to keep it at that. I have some more figures. I haven't actually used all the figures because I have some wolves. But I think I will make the two-headed wolves I have. I'll either make them part of the wizard unit, or I will make them part of the Skovald packs. I really want to give these merciless. That should be another 300 points, leaving us with 25 less than the max at about 7 units. And I think that concludes the Warriors of Gaia. Okay, let's run through the Warriors of Gaia one more time. I'm gonna explain everything in detail, also using some other terms than the actual game terms, in hopes that people who are not super familiar with Hobgoblin can also follow at home. So we have the Glyphfang Marauders, which is my these anthropomorphic wolves with huge axes and capes. They have speed 10, which means they move 8 inches or 10 inches in the movement phase. They got courage 11. That means they can take 11 damage before getting broken and have to be removed in doom phase. They have 12 strikes. That means that they use 12. They roll 12 dice when on the attack. They have a wide footprint, which is a minimum that the base has to be. And the multiplier simply means that whenever they buy a keyword, they pay twice for that keyword, because monsters infantry is already super good, so they get multiplier to their keywords. The keywords are general, which is a free keyword that every army must have. That means that they get the command +1. That means anything within 8 inches of these units get +1 courage. That means as long as the general is there, they have 1 more hit point. It's also got hero 2. This is why we have the 12 strikes instead of 10 strikes. All units has 10 strikes, 10d6, unless they have a keyword modifying. In this case, hero +2 gives them 12 dice on the attack. I bought them brutal. That cost them 200 points because brutal is normally 100 points, and they have a multiplier of 2. And they may rule any misses once. They have command 1, and that's increasing courage. That comes simply from the general. They have fearless, meaning this unit ignore panic. I hope to place them in the middle, and I don't want them to get panic from all sides when everything else starts dying. They got a hero 2, that's increasing the strike stat. That means how many dice they roll on attack. And they are wild because they're monstrous. It means they may not take any action that would distract in gaining the distracted keyword unless it has the character type T keyword. But it does from hero, which again comes from general. Alright. We have the Gore Tusk Chargers, which is heavy cavalry. They have a speed of 12 inches. They have a courage of 11, and this comes from them being the battle standard. That gives command +1 and hero +1. They have 11 strikes from the hero +1. They have a wide footprint, and they got a multiplier of 2 again. That's why they're paying 200 points for brutal, which means attacking they will reroll misses once. They have command 1 because they're carrying the banner for everyone else to see. They have a devastating charge. That is a keyword that comes a default unit keyword with heavy cavalry. It means that if the unit advances 6 or more this round, it may decrease its target number for close combat by 1. So that's like a +1 to the attack, or a reduction of the target number. And again, hero we get from the battle standard keyword. They come in at 1,650 points. Then we have Artemis. She comes in at 675 points. She has a speed of, she's a light infantry, speed of 8 inches, courage 10, strikes 10, unless it's ranged combat. She only rolls 5. She has a range of 12. She has a wide footprint. She has a multiplier 1, so let's see if we can actually purchase narrow for 25. Yes, we're gonna add narrow for her. That clicks us in at exactly 4,000 points. And that just means that she doesn't have to be, her base doesn't have to be 10 centimeters wide. Now I do have some extra figures I could put on her base to make it, but I'd like to her be able to move around and redeploy. So yeah, let's look at that. We have taken Mycena, so she's a healer. Obviously a healer, she can give a target unit brutal for 4. She does not have normally a mage has a 2 mana, 4 mana, and 6 mana spell. They're called not mana, but Mercury in this. She only has a 4, a 4, and a 6, and this one giving brutal and towering to any unit would simply be too powerful. It was, or to any unit within 12 would simply be too powerful. It was a 2. She's flying for rapid redeployment. She's narrow footplanes. It's easy to navigate. She's got range 12, which I don't know if we're going to use ever. And then you got Wizard, which costs 200 points, and that's what unlocks this Abyssal Allegiance. Clocks her in at 700 points. Then we got 2 Krynos. They're already narrow. They have a speed of 10. They have a courage of 10, so 10 life points. They're a monster, and if we look up target numbers here, you can see that monsters are some of the one would have the best target numbers. That's why they're so expensive. They hit live infantry on 2+, ranged on 3+, heavy infantry on 2, 3, 2. Really, they're not struggling with anything. Other monsters, light cavalry is a problem for them, and ranged infantry is a problem for them, but not a huge problem. They got Merciless. They got Bloodthirsty, so they can heal a little bit. So discard Doom tokens. That's like damage that goes against your courage. They heal 1d3 if they break something. So I hope these are like, we can shore up some things with some wolf packs and the monstrous infantry, and then we can hit them hard with the Krynos, who comes in and break enemies in a flanking move and then heals whatever they took. Maybe they don't take anything, but I don't think that's likely. Towering, I don't know, I need towering for. This is more like a drawback when Your enemy has things that can shoot, and it's wild, so it can't shoot and can't reform unless there is a friendly character type unit within 4. Let's see how that goes. And then lastly, our 2 chaff units, the Scowell Packs, 2 units of speed 12 beasts. They have a courage of 10. They only have 8 dice because I chose them to be weak. They're wild. They're skirmishers, meaning that normal units can only take half of their courage as damage from shooting, but when you're a skirmisher, you can take full damage. That's why skirmishers sound good, but it's actually a weakness. And then a little tongue-in-cheek, I always say, it's very important that you add tough terrain to your game, because then you have a free special ability of ignoring said terrain. All right, and then we have cursed. And that simply means that when these poor little puppies, they charge something or attack, we can look up the target numbers here. They'll be hitting on 5s, on 4s, and 6s. The best thing they can do is hit a chariot on 3s and artillery on 2. So they could be good artillery hunters. But whenever they roll their 8 dice for attack, any hit but must be re-rolled once. So the Scowell Packs are probably not gonna kill anything, but coming in at 125 points, they're really there to shape the battlefield. All right, now we've made our army. One check you should probably do when you're making a Hobgoblin army, even though you don't want to be a dirty old optimizer with a long beard and a lot of cheese, you should probably look at how and if you have enough close, loose, and free units. So this is not a classification the game uses per se as a part of the main rules, but Mr. Hutchinson has put in some design insights in the book, in the chapter The Hidden Logic of Hobgoblin. And so there are these 3 categories: close, loose, and free. There's this close, loose, and free, which different units sort under. And it's a kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing. So it can be a very good idea to just give a quick glance. Did I actually get both some rocks and paper and some scissors in my army? Because otherwise I might be at a disadvantage. So we're looking here at monsters infantry is close. Heavy cavalry is close. Light infantry is close. And monster is free. And beasts are loose. So close, 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 loose, and free. But since there's 2 of these and 2 of these, we actually have 3 in the close, 2 in the free, and 2 in the loose. So I was not going for this. I was actually myself very curious to do this quick off analysis, but it actually seems that we balanced out over the 3 unit orders. All right, well, I need all these puppies painted up and basing them and getting them ready for a battle tomorrow. And that battle will be filmed and made into a battle report. So please subscribe so that you'll get a notification when the next videos in this series come up. I know a lot of people have been clamoring for a good battle report in Hobgoblin, and I hope I can deliver that. It will be my first, so I'll let you be the judge of that. And now I am casting Monstrous Growth so that you gain Brutal and can reroll any misses in trying to hit that like button. Catch you in the next videos. This is Greystorm, fading into the mist.